Hello everyone. Today we will see why did KeyFace close the red door? Insidious out of the further, every hidden detail explained. So let's begin. Warning, major spoilers. In Insidious Out of the Further, KeyFace appears during the mid-credits scene and closes the iconic red door on Cyrus Lam, leaving him trapped inside the further. The moment is more than a simple callback. It represents Cyrus receiving the exact opposite of what he wanted. Instead of escaping the further, he is permanently sealed inside it. So, why does KeyFace close the red door? The answer is connected to Cyrus Lamb's entire plan. Throughout Out of the Further, Cyrus wants one thing above everything else. He wants out. He's already dead, but he refuses to accept his existence in the further. He wants to cross back into the world of the living, and he believes Gemma's unusual abilities can make that possible. By the end, Gemma turns his plan against him, and KeyFace closing the red door becomes the final punishment. Who is KeyFace? KeyFace is one of the memorable entities introduced in Insidious: The Last Key. He's a disturbing figure with a keyhole-like face and key-shaped fingers. And his mythology is closely connected to doors, access, and control within the further. In The Last Key, KeyFace attempts to exploit Elise Rainier's abilities and use her connection to the spirit world to gain access to other red doors. That's why his appearance in Out of the Further is important. He isn't just another random demon. KeyFace is the perfect character to close the door. His entire mythology is associated with controlling supernatural thresholds, and Cyrus has spent the entire movie trying to cross one. What does the red door represent? The red door is one of the most important recurring images in the Insidious franchise. It's associated with access to the further and with the dangerous boundaries between the living world and the supernatural realm. In the original movies, characters repeatedly encounter doors that lead deeper into the further. The red door connected to the lipstick-faced demon became particularly important to Josh and Dalton. And Insidious: The Red Door made the symbolism even more explicit by connecting Dalton's painting to his suppressed memories and his supernatural connection. So, when KeyFace closes the red door on Cyrus, the image immediately communicates something. Cyrus has been denied access to the world he desperately wants to reach. What does Cyrus want? Cyrus Lam is obsessed with escaping the further. He has followers who believe he can give them freedom. But Cyrus needs a special kind of person to accomplish this. That person is Gemma. Gemma is a rare courier, someone capable of interacting with the boundary between the further and the physical world. Cyrus realizes that her abilities could allow him to move entities across that boundary. So he manipulates Gemma and tries to use her as his doorway back into reality. But he misunderstands one crucial thing. Gemma's power doesn't belong to him. How does Gemma turn the tables? Eventually, Gemma understands how powerful her ability actually is. Instead of allowing Cyrus to use her as a doorway into the living world, she reverses the process. She sends Cyrus and the supernatural entities back into the further. The house itself becomes part of this supernatural reversal, effectively turning the thing Cyrus thought would be his escape route into a trap. Cyrus's followers suddenly realize that he hasn't delivered the freedom he promised. Does Cyrus die? Not in the conventional sense. Cyrus is already a dead man. What matters is that his consciousness or spirit continues to exist within the further. After his followers attack him, the movie reveals in the mid-credit scene that he is still there. He's strapped into the dead dentist's chair. The entity begins torturing him while the other spirits watch. So Cyrus isn't simply erased, he's defeated, trapped, and punished. That's a much more appropriate fate for his character. Why does the dead dentist torture him? There's an important connection here. The dead dentist was previously part of the horror used against Gemma. Now Cyrus is the one sitting in the chair. That's deliberate irony. Cyrus spent the movie believing he could control the supernatural entities around him. He treated them as tools. But once his plan fails, those same entities turn against him. The dead dentist becomes the instrument of his punishment. Cyrus wanted to use the further. Now the further is using him. Then why does KeyFace close the door? This is the final step. Cyrus has already been defeated. The dead dentist is torturing him. But KeyFace's appearance makes the situation permanent. He closes the red door. That means Cyrus is no longer simply trapped somewhere inside the further. He's symbolically locked away from the world he wanted to reach. And that's why the moment is so satisfying. Cyrus spent the entire story trying to open the boundary. KeyFace closes it. Cyrus wanted to bring the dead out. KeyFace keeps him with the dead. Cyrus wanted freedom. He receives imprisonment. Is KeyFace helping Gemma? Not necessarily. This is an important distinction. The movie doesn't establish that KeyFace suddenly becomes a hero or that he's consciously helping Gemma. KeyFace is still an entity of the further. He's not necessarily closing the door because he cares about Gemma or Maya. Instead, the scene appears to show the further supernatural order dealing with Cyrus. Cyrus has failed. His followers have turned against him, and now the door is closed. KeyFace simply becomes the entity associated with sealing that boundary. Why is KeyFace the perfect character for this moment? Because of his history. KeyFace's mythology revolves around doors and access. In The Last Key, his goal involved gaining access to other red doors and exploiting the supernatural connections associated with them. So bringing him back to close a red door on Cyrus creates a nice piece of franchise continuity. The movie doesn't need a long explanation. Fans who remember The Last Key immediately understand the significance. KeyFace controls the door. Cyrus is on the wrong side, and the door closes. Is Cyrus trapped forever? The movie strongly suggests that Cyrus is trapped for the foreseeable future, but it's difficult to say that he's absolutely imprisoned forever. The Insidious franchise has repeatedly shown that supernatural boundaries can sometimes be crossed. The further is not governed by normal physical rules, and characters with unusual abilities, such as Gemma, can interact with those boundaries. So, while KeyFace closes the door, that doesn't necessarily mean Cyrus can never appear again. It means he cannot escape at the end of this story. That distinction is important if the franchise ever wants to revisit him. Is this a sequel setup? Possibly, but it shouldn't be treated as a confirmed sequel announcement. The mid-credits scene doesn't explicitly say Cyrus will return. Instead, it gives him a fate that leaves his supernatural existence intact. That's useful from a storytelling perspective. If another movie wants to bring him back, he's available. If the filmmakers want this to be his final appearance, the scene also works perfectly as an ending. Cyrus is trapped. His story is contained. And Gemma's immediate conflict is over. The bigger meaning of the red door. The red door has always represented more than a physical entrance. It's a boundary, a threshold, a connection between worlds. In the red door, Dalton's artwork becomes tied to the supernatural door and his buried memories, while sealing that image helps shut the connection. In Out of the Further, the door takes on another meaning. This time, it's the boundary Cyrus wants to cross. He wants to come out, but instead, the door closes. So the final image effectively says, the boundary still exists, but Cyrus no longer controls it. Final answer. So why did KeyFace close the red door? Because the scene is designed to show that Cyrus has lost his chance to escape the further. Cyrus spends the movie trying to exploit Gemma's courier abilities so that he can return to the world of the living. Gemma eventually reverses his plan and sends Cyrus and his followers back into the further. His followers turn against him because he failed to deliver the freedom he promised. Then Cyrus is subjected to another punishment. The dead dentist straps him into a dental chair and tortures him. Finally, KeyFace closes the red door. That action is symbolic because KeyFace has always been associated with doors, access, and the supernatural boundaries of the further. Cyrus wanted to open that boundary. KeyFace closes it. Cyrus wanted to escape the further. He becomes trapped inside it. And Cyrus wanted to control the dead. Now the dead are controlling him. So the red door isn't simply being closed because the movie needs one final scare. It's the final punishment for Cyrus. He wanted out of the further. Instead, the further becomes his prison. And with KeyFace standing on the other side of that red door, the movie leaves